Masculine energy has served me very well in my life. I want you guys to be able to realize that the world is hard, but keep the softness about you. You can't be one of those people that just assumes people should know how you feel. Communication and talking through these things is something that's super important. All right, welcome back to another episode of the More Please podcast, where we focus on bringing more abundance into your life. I am your host, Bailey Amethyst, and today's episode is called Soft Life, Hard Head. And if you don't know me very well, welcome. And if you do know me very well, either way, this episode is going to be a fun one because it is all about feminine energy and how we can lean more into it in order to have the softest life possible. We start all our episodes off with the confession. And today's confession is that I struggle with having too much masculine energy. And this one is a particularly funny episode to me. It was not funny at the time, but a few months ago, my husband told me that he would like me to lean more into my feminine energy. Okay. And I was way too offended when he told me that, because I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, what's your problem? Like, what do you mean lean into my feminine energy? And I said it just like that, not realizing how angry I was. And I had to take a step back and think about what about somebody telling me to be more feminine made me so angry. And I think it had to do, I know it has to do with the fact that masculine energy has served me very well in my life. It's something that I developed in order to protect myself from being hurt. And it's something that I feel like has gotten me far in my life. Like, I feel like because I'm a woman that's strong and can hold her own and can take care of herself, people have not been able to take advantage of me, right? Which I still think that is true. But when I decided to get married to my husband, who is a very, very strong man, but he's also pretty sensitive, in my opinion, to my moods and my attitude and the things that I say. When I decided to get married to him, I had to take into consideration that he has feelings, okay? And he's not just like a toy of mine that I can just throw around and do whatever I want to, which I feel like in the past that's maybe how I have treated people. Like, okay, you're just like an extra in my movie. You're not really like important, and it's my world. I can do whatever I want, right? But when you decide that you want to be with someone, you have to make them another main character in your story, and you can't really run over them. You don't want to treat them in a negative light. So I was kind of disappointed in my reaction to him asking me to be more feminine, because in my head, a really good wife should be soft enough to take criticism and be able to say with grace, oh my gosh, baby, I'm so sorry that I've been a little bit rough with you. And I am definitely going to take this request into consideration, and I'm going to work on it. And that is not how I responded in the moment, guys. I am sad to say. But that is how I would like to respond moving forward. We're going to jump right into some books that I have read over the past few years that have helped me move forward in this kind of like search for feminine energy. And the first one is called Fierce Woman, Soft Warrior. And I don't know why that just escaped my mind, but it's called Fierce Woman, Soft Warrior. And I specifically remember whenever I was getting married, there was a mentor of mine that said, you need to read this book. And I immediately knew that it was for me because I am a strong woman, okay? I have boss babed a little bit too close to the sun. And I know for a fact that I can, you guys, I'm fine by myself, okay? But I made a conscious choice to be with somebody else, so I cannot act in a selfish manner anymore. So for us women that have made our own money, that have lived by ourselves, that have had boss women careers, especially women that are like super educated and they work in male dominated fields, right? It's hard to turn that off whenever you come home, right? Because it becomes your armor, it becomes your personality in such a way, right? And I can only explain it like this, okay? I am a 90s baby, so I grew up watching Cheetah Girls, right? My husband actually loves the Cheetah Girls, so this is a really good example for us, okay? Whenever the Cheetah Girls said, to come and set me free, like that, I was like, yes. I'm so sick of these fairy tale princess stories where these girls are trapped in a tower and they're waiting for this guy to come rescue them. Like, I can rescue myself. I don't need anybody to come and set me free. I'm not a damsel in distress. I don't need the help, right? That's literally how I was raised. I am one of 3 daughters where I had an amazing dad, but he was like, hey girls, you need to know how to take care of yourself. Like, I don't want you to be dependent on any man for anything. Like, that's literally how I was raised. So I'm thinking, this man is going to appreciate the fact that I don't need him for anything. Like, he is not going to, he's not going to like a girl that's just like literally counting on him for everything and leaning on him and blah, 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 right? Like, that to me, in my ego-based mind, was setting me apart, right? Like, you know, there's some girls that are like, yeah, like, I'm a trophy, and like, that's their whole personality. But then I was on the opposite side where I'm like, no, I am bringing not just the table, but I'm bringing the dessert, the entree. Like, I'm good. I'm gonna eat with or without you. And I really feel like both of those extremes are wrong, right? Like, I feel like as people, we need to be somewhere in the middle. Like, this person is not better than this person. This person is not better than this person. Like, there needs to be a collaborative community effect when it comes to people in general, right? And even if you're a single person and you're like, yeah, Bailey, but I do have to be the one that brings the whole table, and I do have to be the one that financially takes care of myself, and I do have to do all these things alone. I understand that side completely as well. And I understand the anger that's behind that, because at the end of the day, a lot of the masculine energy that we have as women is disguised anger. Okay, so we're angry that nobody is there to help us, or we're angry that people aren't seeing that we're the ones who have to bear the burden and that we've been doing it by ourselves this whole time. Or even me, I was angry that it's like, I've been doing it by myself this whole time, and then you come in and you want me to switch things up just because you say so. Like, how about you acknowledge the fact that I've been busting my butt by myself this whole time? How about you acknowledge the fact that I can hold down the fort by myself if I need to, right? But all of that is ego. As women, if you are single and you are doing things by yourself, but you have this hard edge where you don't let anybody in, how is somebody supposed to penetrate that wall and get in to be able to help you, right? Or if you say, I'm just so angry, like, you know, like, I don't really want to open myself up at all, right? That's a lie, right? Because if you didn't want to open yourself, you wouldn't be angry about. You would be content. You would be happy. You would be like, this is the life that I chose, and I'm happy with being by myself. There would be no anger or upset emotion behind something if that was like the actual truth or core of it. So for me, I had to come to a realization, and quickly, that I actually don't want to be this hard, tough, independent person at all. I just had to be, because that was my only option. I had to make it in the world. And now that I have somebody here who's willing to help me and take care of me and share the burden, right? Because that's what we're doing as partners. He's willing to share this burden instead of beating him over the head and running him off, or arguing with him, or being mad that he's not doing it exactly how I would like for him to do it. I have to show that grace and say, oh my gosh, thank you for wanting to be the man in my life that wants to provide for me. Thank you for showing up and, you know, filling up my water bottle in the middle of the night because I'm just a girl and I don't feel like getting up and doing it. Thank you for, you know, being somebody who's willing to head and lead our household, right? Not just, oh, I think I know better, so I'm going to be the one. No, thank you for even wanting to lead me anywhere. Thank you for showing up and having to deal with like the manly things of the world. I don't know what it's like to be a man in the world. I don't know that criticism. I don't know, the kind of pressure that it is that men are taking on in order to be faithful or husbands or providers or whatever else that he's doing in my life, right? So instead of looking at it from like a selfish lens, right, look at it from a grace-filled lens, which is another book that I obviously have recommended quite a few times to you all, Grace-Filled Marriage, right? You have to look at it as if you're seeing things from their perspective, right? Because a lot of the times when my husband and I sit down and we're really discussing things, we are saying the same things from a different perspective, okay? He doesn't feel seen and he doesn't feel appreciated because he's jumping through hoops in order to make sure that I'm good, and I don't feel seen or I don't feel appreciated because I'm jumping through hoops to make sure that he's good, right? But if we were to really work in harmony together and stop stepping on each other's toes or doing each other's jobs, then we would both know that, hey, we're doing things that are equally important. If you stop doing what you're doing and I stop doing what I'm doing, everything falls apart, right? But our jobs are opposite. Our jobs are different. So I'm not gonna, I can't identify with the things that he's doing because that is not a part of my job description, right? Me as a mom, okay, do I work? Yes, but I work differently, right? Obviously I've had the children. I manage the household. I have to make sure everything is flowing. All the employees, report to me. I have to make sure that, okay, we're fed, we're bathed, there's so many things that I do as a mom, right? As a wife that I do. And then you add on additional work that I do outside for my own individual brand and for our companies, right? But when he does, it's completely separate, where I'm just like, I don't even know how to do it. Like, somebody asked me if I know how to do a wire the other day. No, I don't know how to send a wire. Okay. I don't. I'm sure I could learn, but that actually hasn't even crossed my mind because that is his category and that is his department and he's handled it so well. So I don't need to worry about micromanaging and stepping over to his side because he does what he does and he does it with a smile on his face and he's been doing it for a long time. And if he were to stop, I would not be in the best position. Okay. So gratitude. Let's bring this back to you guys. Okay. So if you're a woman that is trying to attempt to have a softer life and she's struggling with letting go of kind of that boss babe or that hardcore mentality that we've been, taught to have, here's what I would suggest doing. So I would suggest meditating and scripting. So you can do either or. I like to do both. So I like to sit and I like to meditate for about 10 minutes. And in this meditation, I would like for all of you to imagine your best and your softest life. Okay. You sit, you're like, okay, this actually feels like this to me. And I'll do one from my perspective. I am waking up in my countryside mansion and I am going over to my vanity and I am taking my hair down from my nightly bonnet. I'm doing my morning shed. Then I'm walking over to the sink. I'm splashing cold water on my face and I'm brushing my teeth. I walk over into the kitchen because it's still early enough before the kids are awake. And I get a cup of hot tea and honey. And I go out and I sit by the patio. I'm sitting outside. The breeze is hitting me. I have nowhere to be because I work for myself and my income is residual. I can take as long as I need, relaxing. I'm not in a rush. My nervous system is regulated. I am deciding if I want to read a book or if I want to watch the news. Then I stroll back into the house and I'm going to start, getting breakfast ready for the kids. Okay, I could continue, right? But that feels like a soft life to me, which means my mornings are slow. I don't have to report to anybody. Things are taken care of. Not once did I say I'm rushing off to work because I'm so stressed out and things are due and blah, 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 right? Which some of you guys might include your dream career in your scripting, right? But it still should feel soft enough to where you're not in fight or flight mode 24/7. And if that includes partnership, great. If it doesn't, you can still be feminine. And I think that's one thing that people like forget. You don't need a person, a man, a woman, anybody in your life in order for you to relax into your feminine energy. You can literally just know that the fact that us as beings, we all have a side of femininity that shines through us, and that looks like intuition, that looks like peace, that looks like community, that looks like communication, right? You can operate in that regardless of what's happening around you, regardless of your surroundings, right? It can be complete chaos and you can still decide to operate in your feminine. Now, that's not my default setting, but I would like for it to be. I would like to lean and work in that direction. So I'm going to continue to do things that's going to help me do that, right? I don't argue anymore, right? Part of that is that I moved to Dubai and it's not allowed, okay? But I have chosen not to argue anymore, because what is the point of me arguing? I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to yell. If anything, me screaming and yelling is going to make people miss my point, right? In order to communicate effectively, calm communication is actually like probably the best thing that I could possibly do. So I'm going to learn how to take deep breaths. I'm going to learn how to communicate. My mom used to tell me all the time, you get more bees with honey than you do with salt. And I'm like, oh, you're right. Like, a lot of the times, even if, for instance, if I'm at a department store and the cashier is being crazy, right? Instead of me going off, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that you probably had a long, rough day. I appreciate you going out of your way to make sure things are okay for me. And immediately what happens? Their attitude shifts, right? Because I have shifted my energy. I'm no longer a threat to them. I'm no longer rah, 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 and in your face. And then people can start to hear you differently. Like whenever you're in an argument or whenever your feelings are upset, instead of being like, even though like you're like angry and it's coming off as anger, the root of that is disappointment. So you can just say, vulnerable, you can just say, hey, I know it comes off as if like I'm angry and I'm yelling at you, but I'm actually really just disappointed. So can I just have a moment to process that? And then people will start to reframe it differently. You can't be one of those people that just assumes people should know how you feel. Communication and talking through these things is something that's super important. And also get into the habit of communicating softly with yourself, okay? Like a lot of that is inner turmoil. So if you're the type of person that has these negative, harsh conversations with yourself of like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. Oh, you're so stupid. Oh, you're blah, 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 blah. All that is going to seep out. Feminine energy is self-love. I just feel like I sat for too long in defense mode. I sat too long in the anger of people not showing up for me the way that I wanted them to. And instead of me showing up for myself, I just played victim for a long time, and I don't want that for you all. I want you guys to be able to realize that the world is hard, but keep the softness about you. You don't have to let them turn you into a bad person. You don't have to let them get your heart hard. You can still be sweet. You can still be everything good that the world needs, even if people haven't been good to you, and you do it for yourself, not for anybody else. Yeah, and if your man is a little tense, or if you guys are fighting because you've been a little bit rough, even if you're justified in the things that you're saying, maybe write them in a journal. Maybe like vent to a friend, or do something outside of attacking the person that you love. Because even if things are going wrong, even if they're making mistakes, it's not your job to come down on them so hard. It's your job to be supportive of them and build them up in order for them to continue to move forward. So find another outlet, maybe work out or do something different. But I really just think that we need to start moving in a little bit more of a loving way. I am not telling you to go to one extreme or the other. I'm telling you to find a balance between your feminine and your masculine, and really just give yourself permission to love on yourself. Every week that we talk, I'm like, oh, I could really talk about this for hours, because this is just like lessons that I've lived and that I've learned so deeply in my life. I want you guys to give me feedback and let me know where you are in this journey, and if it makes sense to you, if it's resonating, if it's something that you feel like we need to lean deeper into, if it's something that you need more resources on. I want you to be able to just share with me where you are, because again, I'm talking to you guys through a camera and I am used to having conversation. So please make sure that you contribute to the conversation and that you give me all the feedback and all the love. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode, and I will see you next week for another episode of More Please.